Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm gonna be testing a GeForce GTX 1050 Ti in Black Myth Wukong. This one is the Asus ROG Strix version of the card. We are running it with the latest Nvidia drivers and I'm not manually overclocking it, although I probably should. You know what, let's just set it to 100 MHz on the core clock and plus 200 MHz on the memory clock. It's a very small OC that should be achievable with any 1050 Ti. Moving on to Tech Power Ups GPU-Z. Here you can see all of the GPU specs. It has 4 GB of GDDR5 and it released back in 2016, so it's kind of old at this point. And over on the left, I'm pairing it with a Ryzen 5 3600X and 16 GB of DDR4. Let's get into it, shall we? And here we have it, my friends. And we're at 1080p resolution using the FSR set to 100%, so it's native res at the moment. I'm also going to try it with a lower resolution as well as lower FSR numbers and frame generation. And right now we're using the lowest settings possible here. And well, at native 1080p with the lowest settings, since this is below the system requirements GPU, which is a GTX 1060, and a 1060 is way faster than 1050 Ti, it's like 80% faster or so. Yeah, this is getting lower 20s, not even in a very intensive area, guys, but at least it's not stuttering all over the place, so it's stable 20-ish FPS, and sometimes dropping into the teens as well. It's a terrible experience, okay? Nobody should play like this. I don't think you should buy this game with a GTX 1050 Ti, honestly. Even the GTX 1650 that I tried here in this title, which is faster than the 1050 Ti, did struggle quite a bit, and I don't recommend you to buy it with that card either. You'd be stuck with lowest settings and very low resolutions after all to make it playable, and it's not really that enjoyable either. So let's go ahead and stop it there already. And I'm gonna lower this down to 67%, which is quality FSR. This usually does look decent in some titles, although in this one, it is super noisy. You can see it on the legs of our character right there. But at least it's able to get us 30 FPS or up to 30 FPS at times. Not terrible. This area right here is usually pretty intensive as well, and it's not dropping, so we're in for a decent experience maybe in terms of FPS with 1050 Ti. Huh, interesting. Maybe at like 720p native resolution, it'll get even higher FPS than 30 plus. I thought it was going to struggle more, honestly, because this is a nice-looking game, and it's an Unreal Engine 5 title, which is extremely intensive, of course, especially on these older GPUs from the 10 series, and even newer GPUs struggle with UE5, honestly, if you enable all of the settings and ray tracings and so on, even without RT. The newest GPUs still struggle. This engine is very, very demanding indeed. And as you can see, it still drops down into the 20s sometimes in this area. This is one of the most intensive areas that I've come across this far. And going into the Fiery Boy, if you're wondering, drops our FPS a little bit further, as you could see there, into the mid-20s. It's not a good experience at all, even with these lowest settings and what is essentially 720p internal resolution with FSR. So yeah, don't do this, okay? If you have a 1050 Ti, you have been warned. Do not buy Black Myth Wukong. It's not going to work very well. Let's try it with Performance FSR, which is 50% resolution scaling. At this point, the game is it's running at 540p resolution internally and upscaling it to 1080p. And here we can actually get 30 plus, maybe. Let me just go ahead and do this. My God, so many. Oh, so hard, guys. It's so... I missed. I completely missed that. Okay. Let's beat them bastards if I can. Come on. My God, what the hell? These small guys. Oh, Jesus, I hate them. I hate them so much. Why do they have so much HP? Okay, all right, I'm fine. And why do I have so little HP as well? That's a big question. I wish it had difficulty levels, you know. It would definitely help 1050 Ti users if you cannot wait to upgrade your GPU and buy this game. If you just want to hop into it with a 1050 Ti. Again, it's a terrible idea, but it's playing the game right now at 30 plus FPS. I thought it was going to do a worse job once again. Oh, we're back at the start. Okay, do I have everything on me? I'm gonna try to hit the boss here with these settings, guys, in 1050 Ti. It's probably going to be very bad, but, well, we do have enough FPS, so let's see if I can do something. Hello, Bob number 2. Oh my god, look at the noise after my character there. It's really bad. Of course, starting very well, actually. Come on, come on. There we go. Where are you going, boy? These effects, I guess, are pretty intensive, probably, especially if you are running the game at higher settings. But here, with low settings, they don't seem to affect our FPS too much, which is pretty nice, actually. What are you doing? What are you doing? No. All right, come on. There it is. Heavy attack to the heavy bastard. I need to heal myself. Stop. Thank you. Let me heal. Please, thank you very much, Bob. This Bob, at least, is very... my god. He's polite, right? He just waits for us to heal. Come on. Where did he go? Bastard. Okay, I'm fine. So he's still playable, but it just looks like crap, honestly. Come on. Still very impressive that the little 1050 Ti, which is a very bad GPU by today's standards, can still play the game. Seriously, I turned him into a statue, and he does that, and then I can't really turn him into a statue. There is a skill that you can unlock that allows you to keep the combo strikes and so on, even while you're dodging his attacks. So I really want to unlock that next, and then we might be able to hit this bastard and kill him for sure. But for now, yeah, it's probably not going to happen, at least with the 1050 Ti and these FPS. But again, these are playable FPS after all, and if I was playing with a controller, it would be okay-ish. It would be harder to notice that the game is actually running at 30 to 40 FPS most of the time. Over in this area, it actually goes up to the 50s, because it's not as intensive. But yeah, so far, not so bad, right? I expected it to be a terrible experience, and here we are, playing the game. We can even utilize some frame generation at the same time, bump things up into the 60s, although in this not demanding areas, so in more intensive areas, it will definitely drop into the 50s, and whenever that happens, input lag becomes kind of unbearable, to be honest. Even at 60 to 70 FPS, I don't really like the input lag here, but it's passable in a third-person game like this. But yeah, in the 50s, even high 50s, it feels pretty janky, guys, not gonna lie. You can probably tell in the YouTube video as well. This does not feel or look that smooth at all. This is not even a very intensive area. So forget frame generation, alright, with 1050 Ti, at least at 1080p, it's not going to work very well, even with 50% resolution scaling. Let's turn this off, set it back to 100%, lowest setting still, but this time I'm going to lower it down to 720p resolution. And I'll need to restart the game, apply the resolution in the desktop because it only has borderless mode. And we're back to it, guys. Getting 40 frames per second at the 720p resolution, as you can see, 720 using 100% resolution scale on FSR, and this actually ends up looking a little bit better in my opinion than just 1080p with the quality FSR, which is 720p again. But I think the quality of FSR in this title is just way too low. Although right now I'm seeing a lot of little dots and noise in his legs. It's not as pronounced as running at a lower resolution scale with FSR, but it's still very noticeable, guys. Maybe it's because of the low settings coupled with a low resolution. Anyway, let's keep on going over here. I think I would prefer to lower the res to 720p than playing the game at 1080p FSR quality, because again, it just looks a little bit cleaner to me. There's not as much noise and stuff. I'm saying noise a lot, but it really does have a lot of noise, this game. As you can see, so far, so good. No drops into the 20s. 1% lows are at 29 because there was a little stutter there. Traversal stuttering will happen from time to time in this title. It's Unreal Engine after all. The main difference between this and something like Remnant 2, for example, which is also a UE5 title that's extremely intensive, is that this game is not utilizing nanite and lumen by default. And whenever you don't use nanite by default, you actually can get the game to be sort of optimized, you could say, and playing on stuff like GTX 1060s and even 1050 Ti's apparently. As you can see, it's not really dropping. Let's go with a fiery boy though. 30 FPS there. Yeah, a little bit more of an overclock would make it at 30 100% of the time, but again, it's already slightly overclocked. Remember that. If you don't OC your 1050 Ti and if you have a lower end model of it, it won't get as high FPS. Maybe you're gonna drop like 2 frames per second and get 20s a little bit more often, unfortunately. But overall, yeah, I'm impressed once again. This is not as good as it could have been, obviously. There are better looking titles on higher settings, of course, that are older than this, that will play absolutely fine on the GTX 1050 Ti. But hey, if you really want to play some Wukong, I still don't recommend it on the 1050 Ti, but it can actually provide playable frame rates. You know what? Let me enable frame generation on top of native resolution here at 720p first. Okay, that way it doesn't look as bad as it does with 67% resolution scale or quality FSR. And yeah, the fact that we're getting 50s means you get a ton of input lag here. It's a little bit annoying. Maybe the controller, it would be doable once again, but I think with mouse and keyboard, it becomes too input laggy with these settings that we're utilizing right now. It's not a good experience here. Yeah, so I'm just gonna disable it. I would rather have 30 FPS natively than 50 FPS with frame generation. Let's drop this down to 67%. Here we go. This is FSR quality with lowest settings and 720p. Oh my god, I'm almost dead. Let me just drink this. Thank you very much. Stop hitting me, you bastards. Okay, there we go. We're getting 40s now. Lots of noise, even noisier than 1080p quality FSR, of course, because now it's a lower resolution internally. Yeah, at this point, the game is so ugly to look at and so noisy to look at on moving things that I just can't. We're getting good FPS, but this is terrible. It's a bad experience, basically, okay? Anyway, it's gonna drop down into the low 40s. Worst case scenario, this area right here is super demanding because of all of the vegetation. And yeah, I guess it's playable. It doesn't even drop into the 30s. Maybe it is going to drop slightly sometimes when you're fighting bosses with a lot of effects and so on. But yeah, overall, not a terrible experience speaking of FPS, but a terrible experience when we're talking about visuals. This just doesn't look like a recent title anymore, honestly. Anyway, I can't be too mad about it because it's a 1050 Ti after all. We gotta check out the 1030 at this point. It might actually surprise me. I'm not expecting great things, but this one actually did surprise me. All right, come on, let's go back to 67%. There we go. And now I'm gonna enable frame generation on top of FSR quality, and hopefully we'll get 80 FPS. But no. I was hopeful there, guys, but you still drop down into the 60s. I guess this way you can get 60 plus FPS all of the time, but it's going to feel pretty input laggy once again with 60-70 frames per second. Much better in 50s though, so it's playable probably, and it's smooth at the very least. So there's that, but still, guys, would you do this? I wouldn't. At least don't spend the $60 that it costs, okay? If you find this on sale and you have a 1050 Ti in a few years' time still, and you really want to hop into it, see how it goes, maybe upgrade your GPU later for the game, and you just want to start getting used to the experience, to the movement and so on, maybe buy it at like $10. It wouldn't be that bad of a deal to play like this, but at $60 to play like this, it is way too much. Overall, it's not absolutely awful of an experience, so I'll give props to the 1050 Ti, and the slight optimizations that they made to this game. Okay, let's go. Try to tackle the boss one more time. Okay, I actually hit him there, but didn't really look like I did. Yeah. Okay. Flippin' best, stop being a ghost already. Alright, I'm gonna go with the Fiery Boy now. Fiery Boy in the house. Heavy attack. There we go. Heavy attack again. There we go. Heavy attack again. There we go. And, yeah, okay, now we're back to our normal form. Alright. No, stop. Oh, boy. God damn it. You know what? I actually defeated the snake boss already, and I totally forgot that I could probably change forms to that guy. My God. I was trying to heal myself, but I couldn't. I just realized that I don't know where to change my form to the other guy, so I guess that's about it for this video. I'm not even sure at this point that I can turn into the serpent water guy, but I'll look into it. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And well, if you have a 1050 Ti, again, I don't recommend you to buy this game, but you've seen the results, so you are responsible people, right? Do whatever you want. Catch you in the next one. Love you all. Bye-bye.